Hello and welcome to Entropic Sonic Designs. Today's video is going to be regarding a music synth that we are going to build with MetaSound. So in further explanation, what we're going to try to make is a few keypads that as the player is going to walk, jump or step on them, these keypads are going to play notes, and they're going to play different notes based on the keypad. So we're going to split our work into different parts. The one part is to build the blueprint for the keypads, and the other part is going to be to build the synth, a very simple synth with the MetaSound, to connect them and create these music keypads. So go on, create a third-person project and just empty the area inside because we are not going to need anything from there. And after that, we are going to start creating this idea. So the very first things that we need is to create some files. First file is going to include the blueprints, so we can name it blueprints. And the second file that we are going to create is we're going to name it audio, because in there we're going to include the MetaSounds. So open the blueprint file and folder, and create a new blueprint class as an actor, and name this new blueprint as BP_keypad. After that, double click and open it, and we're going first to create a box, a cube, and name that pad. Then let's trim it a little bit to make it look a little bit better as a pad, and scale it a little bit. We're going to make it also a little bit bigger, like so. All right. So the next thing is going to, compile and save always. And the next thing that we're going to add is a box collider. Name it collider. Yep. Misspelled. So, okay. Let's create again a new collider and name it properly. And put it under the pad. And that is too much of importance for now. Alright, stretch it and extend it. Compile and save. Alright. Now we need to go to the construction script, and in there we're going to include a little bit of code. So create a variable, name it index_ref, and make it an integer. Remember to open the eye here so it will be visible from the level from the level details. Drag it as a setter and as a getter. Connect the set to the construction script and the getter to the setter. Then compile and save. Next, we are going to go to the event graph. In there, we're going to make a debug code for now. So we will be able to see anytime what number the index is including. So go to the collider, scroll down to the details, and go to the begin overlap. Click it and put it in the graph. Now from there, drag the index as a getter and connect the execution pin with a print string. Then connect the string to the index, and that's it for now. Make it a little bit neat. Compile and save. Now, let's minimize that, and it's time to start spreading a little bit the keypads in our level. So go on and find a suitable site for you and make 12 clones of the same blueprint. So we're going to have 12 keypads. Now that we have 12 keypads, let's play and see the debugging system. It prints zeros because all of them include the number 0 inside. So how we can change that? Remember that we typed in our construction script to set the individual keypad. So for this one is going to be 0, this one is going to be 1, this one is going to be 2, this one is going to be 3, etc, etc. Keep going until you reach the 11 number, because we have 0 to 11, but we do have 12 pads. Right, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's great. So now, if we play our game, you're going to see that the screen is printing the numbers of the keypads that we are stepping on. Remember, those are going to be our helpful index for the variable that we are going to set in our MetaSound synth. So to do that, go to the audio file, go to sounds, and create a new MetaSound source. And name it ms_OSC for oscillator, because the first thing that we're going to make is the oscillators. So double click it, rearrange a little bit the area there so we have space to work in between those. And the first thing that we're going to add is a sine. Then duplicate that, and we are going to add for flavor a square wave. So add a square too. Now from there, we need to add them as a mix. So choose a 3-channel mixer, connect the inputs to the outputs of the oscillators, and connect the output of the mixer to the mono out of our module. Now from there, we need to take care a little bit of our frequencies inside. Of course, the gain, level it down a little bit, so we will start with smoother volumes. And for the input, we're going to add as an input a new input, and this input we're going to name it let's name it nodes. All right, and as a type we're going to choose float. Make it the widget as a knob and frequencies. Drag it in our graph and connect all the frequencies. But because we don't want all the oscillators to play the same frequency, we're going to multiply the second by 2, so it's going to play an octave above, and then the third one is going to play 2 octaves above, so multiply by 3. Alright, connect it with the frequency, and for now let's make it a little bit better and neat. Over here. Right, so to test this idea, let's play and hear this pitch up and pitch down. Everything looks and sounds great. Now we move to the next module that is going to include our MS oscillator. And this time we're going to make another meta sound, and we're going to name it MS Voice. double click it, open it, and make the space a little bit easier to work in between. We need it as a stereo, so go to MetaSounds and change it to stereo. And now we're going to add from the graphs our module of oscillator. You see that it has the input as notes and the output as mono. We're going to need a stereo mixer now. So type stereo mixer and connect the output left and right to accordingly left and right, and then the two left and right to mono output of our module. Next thing is to start creating our envelope. So we're going to need an ADSR float, connect the float output to our gain. Now next we need to get an input, so we will be able to trigger the envelope. So add an input and name it trigger synth. The type needs to be trigger, so choose that and just drag and drop it inside the graph, connect it to the trigger of the attack, of course, and then we need to promote the attack, decay, and release to variables. So we will be able to adjust them as we please based on our preference. To do so, go a little bit left, stretch the trigger a little bit left so we have empty space, and then you will type set attack time, choose that, and go to the widget. Of course, choose the variable, go to the widget and change it to knob. Same it's going to work for the rest of decay and release. So the same process, set decay, choose it, go to the widget, turn it to knob, and then the release, set release, choose it and change it to knob. Then it's best if we just make them a little bit better in arrangement. Select them all and type C or command and write inside envelope. So we will know always where we're going to go to adjust the envelope of our synth. Remember to make the sustain at 0 because it's needed for this purpose. Arrange them a bit and let's play. All right, envelope is on. What is next? The next thing, I think it should be our input for notes, because this is going to be the most interesting part. So to start, we need a MIDI note quantizer, and from there we need to convert the MIDI notes to frequencies. So choose MIDI to frequency and connect it to notes. Then what we need for test purposes, we are going to add a random, random float. Well, no, we need a random integer, and we're going to convert it to a float. Conversions, integer, float. Connect it to note, and then on the minimum type 60 and just add the trigger again, and let's play. And yep, we do have notes randomly throwing to our frequency in of our oscillator. But because we do not want a random generation of notes, we're going to add a variable and we're going to name it notes, change that to integer and make it as an array. because in there we're going to include specific notes that they will be triggered from the keypads. So starting from the index 0, we're going to make it 48 all the way up to 59. 51, 52, 53, etc., etc. 6. Yeah. Then drag and drop the notes in there and choose Get Integer Array. And then from there, we're going to convert it to integer to float and link it with the noting of the MIDI note quantizer. Arrange it a little bit better. And the last thing that we need, of course, connect the trigger. So every time that we step on a keypad, it's going to play a note. The last thing that we need is to create yet another input. And this time we're going to name it index. Well, no, let's name it just index. It's gonna be integer, and drag it and connect it with the index. This is gonna be the value that is gonna change every time that we step on a different keypad in our level. So arrange it a little bit better, select them all, and make a comment that this is gonna be the notes to frequencies. All right, I think it's good for now. Now, coming back to our content, go to the blueprint and open the keypad blueprint. And in here, we're gonna set our code. So delete this node, make another node, and just type add audio component. Now, this audio component is need to be linked with our MetaSounds module, and we're gonna link it with a voice. Compile and save, and then just make it a little bit better in arrangement. And from the return value, just go to the audio. Oh, no, sorry, just type trigger, and you will see the execute trigger parameter. This parameter is going to trigger every time our MetaSound synth. But in order to do that, go back to the audio and be sure for the name of the trigger. So here we have named it trigger synth. Copy that, go back to the blueprint, and in the name just paste that. From there, go to the print screen, compile and save, and let's see if that works. All right, let's go to the keypad. All right, yes, we do have sound. All right, so the next thing that we need to do is to connect the keypads, the index, with our parameter, the variable parameter inside our MetaSynth. So drag from the return value, go to the audio parameter, and choose set integer parameter. Remember to be the controller interface block, and delete this wire, connect the new execution pin, and connect it to print string. Just make it a little bit better visually. Copy the name of the variable of the input, and paste it in there. Compile, save, drag a node from the index ref, connect it with the parameter that we are going to control, make it a little bit better, compile and save again, and let's check again. Trigger, nodes, index, variable from 48 to 59. So it should be right. If we play now, we're probably gonna hear notes. All right, that's great. So as a proof of concept for this idea, we made a MetaSounds synth with 3 oscillators in a block, and then we used this module to incorporate it to a voice with notes and with an envelope. We used the ADSR, then we code lightly to trigger the synth with notes. Remember that the construction script is very important when we speak about clones of the same blueprint. And generally, we made a keypad that when the player steps on and collides with it, it's gonna play notes. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day and cheers!